and welcome to episode #8 of the Chit Chat Podcast. How is everyone? I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know about anyone else, but I got a pair of new Nike runners, can't speak today, the other day for the gym opening up, and I honestly feel like a kid at Christmas. The excitement of walking back into a gym again is just going to be amazing, especially in my new shoes. I never appreciated the gym so much in my life. Before lockdown, I'd be doing anything and everything to not go. And now I'm so excited. But remember, guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to at least 100 subscribers in the next couple of months across all our platforms. And when we do, we'll have that nice little competition up for grabs. Now, today, as you can see from the title, I'm joined by a man who has danced all over the world on some of the world's biggest stages for major artists. He's a bit of a fashion guru also, and an all-round amazing guy. All the way from Dublin, Ireland, it's the very talented Mr. Adam Fogarty. Adam, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. What a lovely introduction. Thank you.
Well, it's only for the best. Honestly, people could actually do my podcast for me because the first couple of questions are always the same. But obviously, look, there's been a pandemic, so it's always good to know how people have handled it. How has your lockdown been for you, and what have you been getting up to?
Oh God, I'd be lying if I said it was going well. It was
Right.
it was obviously weird. So weird for everything to just come to a stop.
Yeah,
I think as time went on though, I feel like we all found our groove,
yeah,
maybe mid-April, that's when I kind of found my swing of things with my home workouts and trying to do some work online and all of that with classes and stuff. But no, I'm 3 weeks back into the gym now. I'm teaching a bit more. Work is starting to come around. So like, thank God, I'm hoping it stays.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not been too bad. It's kind of like a distant memory now and I want to keep it there. I'm like, it never happened in my head.
Because I was just about to say, for someone like yourself that is on the go 24/7, did you
Mm.
find the sudden halt hard to deal with, or were you excited for having time off to relax and escape the madness? Because I know for myself, I struggle big time with everything stopping because I like to keep busy and keep my brain
Mhm.
active and ticking over. So how was it for you?
I had some really great things that were due to happen literally just weeks from when everything stopped. So that was definitely tricky, but I won't lie, like it was nice to have a break at first. I think the first 2 weeks, maybe I was like, this is just like Christmas break. Like it was
Yeah, yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
And then it started getting more real. And then I was like, oh, okay, wait. No, let's get back to it. So it
Yeah.
definitely, it took a turn really quick, but it wasn't too bad at the start.
Now, before we delve into your story and career,
Mm.
let's talk about your Instagram stories. And it's perfect that you're sitting in your car for this
Oh my
because
God.
now you seem to always end up in some kind of situation, we'll say, with a random stranger, and then you vent to us on your stories,
Mhm.
and it's great. We love it. What's been the weirdest thing to happen to you on what we'll call Adam's adventures?
Do you want to know what
Yeah,
actually happened today?
yeah, go on.
And I don't know if it's the weirdest, but it was definitely weird. So I have been doing therapy with my therapist via FaceTime.
Yeah,
And I've ranted like 5 times about people hitting their car doors off other people's cars.
yeah.
I was sitting in this exact spot this morning, had a person literally next to me and just banged their door off my door mid therapy session. And I've my therapist looking at me like, is he about to overreact? And I'm like, I'm like, sorry, this lady just hit my car. And I'm sitting there like, do I react? Do I not react? It was so
Yeah,
weird because I was like, I kind of have to like be on my best behavior because I'm like, I want to like impress her, but like low key,
yeah.
I'm like, what did you just do? There's always something. There's always something.
I
Oh,
was just about to say it's been one of my favorite things to watch on your stories because it's like, oh, here's Adam. He's been somewhere.
something else.
He's been somewhere. Something's happened, and he's letting rip.
I'm telling you, it follows me. I never want it ever. I'm so chill and it just finds me. I swear it's not ideal,
Yeah.
but we're
Well, look,
living to tell the tale. It's fine.
let's talk about young Adam. How did you get
Mm.
involved into the world of dance?
So my sisters used to dance when I was a kid. They liked it. They weren't obsessed with it, but I used to go and watch with my parents, like at the end of the class.
Yeah,
And I used to join in low key on the sides. And then my parents were like, okay, let's throw them into it. So I hated it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hated it for honestly a good 6 months to a year from what I can remember.
yeah.
Which sounds like child abuse, but it ended up actually being, I don't know where the switch was, but maybe it was going on stage or something. So I started when I was about 4. And then
Yeah.
from there, I just kind of started spiraling into different styles and stuff.
It's funny you say that because I had the same kind of thing myself. I remember, actually, it's quite sad, but High School Musical was what got me into dance, right?
Oh my God, obsessed. Okay, yeah.
So I watched it with my cousins, and I was like, oh, the first 10 minutes were on, and I was like, I'm not watching this like stupid this thing with people dancing and singing. Then I kind of
Yeah,
popped my head in the door, and then I just saw Troy Bolton, aka Zac Efron, and I was going, yeah, well, look, it's kind of cool. Like I could give it a go, but like you,
yeah,
then I was like, right. My mom was like, we'll just get him into some sort of dance class. So they put me into this dance class, and I was the only boy in amongst all these
right.
girls. And I remember my first day, like I just didn't speak to anyone. And then I went out bawling to my dad. I was like, Dad, I hate this. I can't do this. I can't do this. So he would literally bring me in, say to my mom, like, right, we're bringing Evan into dance class. We just wait outside for an hour, have an ice cream, then just go home. But then I'm kind
Yeah,
of like, now I'm just like, how have I ended up here if I hated it so much? You know what I
I
mean?
know. It's so interesting when people have that kind of start because everyone just presumes it's like this ultimate like love from the start.
Yeah.
When really you're just a kid and you're just trying out different things. It's weird, like how you find your feet. It's so crazy.
Now, growing up, Adam, and wanting to be a dancer, but also we'll touch on it briefly, coming to terms with sexuality. What was coming out
Yeah.
like for you, and what was your experience like? Because I think you could inspire someone at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've got a very, very supportive family. And it was never really something that I would worry about really. So
Yeah,
I'm lucky in that sense. I know that's not everybody's situation.
yeah,
But I think it's very important. Like I'm very open when I speak about everything. So like I'm just Adam. It's not like I'm Adam and I'm gay. I'm just
yes,
me. And I
yes,
think it's having like straight male friends or just girls who maybe don't understand it and think they do. I think it's just important to normalize it as much as possible because at the end of the
absolutely.
day, like it's 2020. It's as normal as can be, but I think some people just like people forget.
Yeah,
Sometimes I don't know. I'll be talking to someone. They'll be like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "There shouldn't even be an oh yeah." Like it's
yes,
literally just fine. Do you know what I
exact.
mean?
That, and you know what? Like, it annoys me sometimes. Like you said, that shouldn't be a thing. Is like that's a perfect example of, hi, I'm Adam, I'm gay. That doesn't, like, love is
Totally.
love, guys. We're in the world of 2020, and look, if you are homophobic in any way, turn off my podcast, don't subscribe, and just get out of here because we do not tolerate that here at the Chit Chat Podcast.
Absolutely. And make an anonymous account if you are, because I will come for you. Don't even
Yeah.
try. Run.
Now, right, let's dig into your career, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about training. Now, I know
Right.
you are a self-made dancer and learned your craft from going to classes. How
Mhm.
important do you think is taking classes for dancers?
Honestly, if you want to become a professional dancer, it is the number one thing. Like it's just crucial. It's how you make your connections. It's how you get to know different dancers, different teachers. It's how you put yourself out there. It's how you get footage to then send on for show reels. It's like it's everything. It's
Yeah,
like the center point of like becoming a professional dancer. It's just so crucial in as many styles as well as possible.
and when you were growing up, what style did you start off with?
I it's a hard one. I want to say just like general hip hop maybe.
Yeah,
Like I feel like it was just that typical like stage school hip hop. And that was my first thing, and that will always be my favorite. Maybe it's because what I started doing was that.
yeah,
So that was number one, and then I went into a bunch of different things. So I did Latin and ballroom for a couple years,
yes, I
and I
remember
did
that
that
actually.
professionally. You
Yes,
do? No
I do. Like
way.
that's just because I remember now you actually did do that because when you came to the Olympia, we were like, I remember you showing us photos. I was like, "What? You're just a hip
Oh my!
hop guy? Like, how the hell are you grooving like that across the floor?"
I'm dead. That's my parents. My parents were like, "You're going," and I was like, "Okay, like I'll do it."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like, it was actually amazing. I watched Strictly now, and it's my favorite show because it is just—it's so addictive to watch. I think it's like the most amazing style. So
yeah.
I'm definitely happy I did it for sure.
Now you've trained in so many amazing places like LA, London, and New York. Like you
Hmm.
just have so much passion for the
Hmm.
industry. Anyone can see that a mile away.
Oh,
Where,
thank you.
it's all right. Where has been your favorite place to train and why?
LA is always going to be my favorite to train. Always,
Yeah,
always. Just because the classes are so consistent. Like, I obviously not right now. I was due to go back in April, and it's very upsetting. But
yeah,
I normally go 2 times a year for maybe 3 weeks at a time,
yeah,
and it's just 3 weeks to like enjoy yourself and just take class. Like the people are so friendly. It's a very welcoming environment. the teachers that you see every day on socials, my friends who aren't even dancers know who these teachers are, and you get to just walk into their class, learn from them, and you can do
Yeah.
that 4 times a day if you want to, you know?
And do you, because I know, you can tell you love LA.
Mhm.
Would you think you're ever going to move over there at some point?
You know what, that was my plan from like maybe 15, 16. I'd like to have a bit of both. I like
Right.
Ireland, I like living here, I like building my profile here. If
Yeah.
I can get half and half at some point, that will definitely happen. I've looked into it, so it's a process, but it's definitely something that I'm considering 100%.
Well, I can only imagine if you're these kind of stories that we get on your Instagram in Ireland, what it's going to be like
Oh,
if you go over to LA.
literally, those people over there are crazy. It would be so much worse, but I'm so down for it. I'm so down.
Now, like speaking of training, you're also a
Mhm.
dance teacher, and you are
Yes.
constantly improving the dance game over here in Ireland by bringing over so many amazing dancers from the UK and elsewhere for workshops. What is it about teaching that you love, and has it always been a dream of yours to teach?
Yeah, it was something that just kind of fell to my onto my lap, really. Like, it was word of mouth. I think someone asked me to cover one time when I was still in school, and
Yeah,
then from there it was word of mouth, and it started to spiral, and I just started teaching in so many different places, and I think I
yeah,
found my love for it as I went.
yeah,
So I was always nervous. Even my parents used to worry, like, okay, he can dance, but can he create his own choreography? And that was definitely something I used to panic about, that when I was like
yeah.
10, 11, 12, which is ridiculous because I was literally a child. Like, it's fine. Like, so like ahead of it, like I need to figure
Yeah,
this out. But yeah, I think as I started doing it, that's when I found the love for it. Like, I talk all day. I love to be around people. I
yeah,
love being around dancers. When you get like a really good vibe in a class, there's nothing better. It changes your mood for days.
yeah.
So that definitely, it definitely started, my love for it started to grow as I started teaching, for sure.
And like in these strange times, like you said, you're getting back teaching. What's the
Mm.
teaching structure like now, and how is it? So how is it differ to what it was previously?
You know what? It's kind of funny. I feel like it's different, but it's the same, because
Yeah,
the layout. So obviously going in, you've got your sanitization and your stations for that,
yeah,
whatever. But when you're actually in the class, we're always spread out anyway as dancers, because you need your space. So all the
yes.
markings on the floor are literally apart, but it's literally the same. There's no difference. So it's
It,
actually amazing. There's
it's
like
helping
very,
those
very little
dancers with
difference.
no spatial awareness.
It's fantastic. So those ones literally cannot come near you anymore. It's like a blessing.
because I'm doing a bit of teaching myself in a few weeks' time, and
Mhm.
I was kind of going, how the hell am I going to plan a class? I like,
Yeah.
and but yeah, like you said, it's just gonna help people that with no spatial awareness. Um,
Absolutely. Those people that are like stuck to your hip,
yeah.
gone. Thank God.
Now, where do you teach, and where can people get a glimpse of your classes?
Do you know what? I'm literally all over the place. Like,
Yeah,
I used to have a very set timetable weekly, but now it's like a lot of open workshops and things like that, just so more people can attend.
yeah,
And there's so many schools around Ireland that I just love to get around to as many as possible. So
yeah.
even next week, I'm in Donegal, I'm in Waterford, I'm down the country, I'm all around Dublin. Like, I'm just kind of everywhere. So
Yeah.
the best way is probably to check my socials. And then once we can get back into, like, I don't know, getting more people in a room as well, I normally would have had 1 or 2 open classes monthly on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get back around to those. And they might be tricky because there was definitely over 50 people at each class. So I'm going to have to just have a little look at that. But that would definitely be the best option for sure. Just checking socials always. So I
And
post everything on there.
would you ever like to have your own dance school or academy of some sort?
Definitely. Down the line, I'd love a chain. I don't want
Okay.
one, I want several. So I'm
Oh,
like, I'm going for the big time.
yeah. Well, go big or go home.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll get one first, I'll get it right, and then we'll
Yeah.
go. You know what I mean?
Now,
That's it.
you've worked with. Now, I'm going to name drop here, like
Oh
no
God,
one's
okay.
like no one's business. It's me doing it, not
Okay.
you, so it's fine. Like you've worked
Okay.
with artists such as Rita Ora, Black Eyed Peas, Emma Bunton, Rudimental, Cat Raymond, and the list just goes on and on. But you've recently worked on television programs such as the MTV EMA Awards, Capital FM's Jingle Bell Ball, and for companies such as Disney, Jaguar, and Matalan. The list again
Yes.
still goes on and on. Let's talk. Let's talk about MTV EMA Awards, Dancing for Rita Ora. What was that experience like for you? is she nice to work with? Because if not, I hope that this is an exclusive that we're going to get. And what's the rehearsal process like when working with such a high profile artist?
So that was just a really fun job. It's always around the November time. So the vibes in London were amazing. So we rehearsed in London for like a week or so. We did 2 numbers with Rita, and I've worked with Rita on other jobs, and she is an angel. She's so lovely. Every
Yeah.
time I've met her, she is so sweet. She's so lovely to everyone involved, because there's so many people involved in any production. It's not just what you see on stage, it's everyone behind the
Yeah.
scenes, and it's the dancers, and it's everything. So I love working with her. She's amazing. But yeah, it's like a week-long process depending on the job. So that one was like 1 or 2 tracks, which wasn't too major. We had about
Yeah.
a week to get it together, and then you have maybe 2 days in the venue to like run through on stage and get everything set with cameras and stuff. But yeah, it's always, live TV is nerve-wracking, but it's fun. It's like
Yeah.
exciting nervous, you know?
And do you ever get that feeling, like, do you ever get a bit starstruck when you're dancing with such high profile celebrities? Or is it one of those things where you have to have that professionalism and just be like, hi, how are you? But inside you're screaming like, oh my God, oh my God.
I actually don't. Like, I think it's because when you're on a job, so like you'll always meet them throughout the rehearsal process,
Yeah.
but you're so focused and you're also so tired from all of the rehearsals you're doing that when they come in, it's just business. You're their
Yeah,
dancer and you're here to like help add to that show. I think afterwards you kind of come back and realize what you've just done. Like I'll
yeah.
fly home and it's always me sitting on the plane coming home and I'm like, geez, like I just did that. And then I'll look
Yeah.
through and I'm like, oh, okay, like that was cool, but it doesn't register like that when you're there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're all lovely though. Most people I've worked with are so sweet. Like they're
Yeah.
really nice, and it's always so much fun as well. So all
Now,
good things.
Now, you danced at the Emma Bunton Christmas party at the Royal Albert Hall. The Royal Albert Hall is an incredible venue. Performing at such an iconic venue, like how did that feel? That must have felt amazing.
Honestly, I'm very chill about the jobs I've done, but that one gives me chills. Like I literally just got chills.
Yeah.
Firstly, Christmas, I'm obsessed. Secondly,
Yes.
a Spice Girl, like what? Like, and the venue, everything, like walking in there was just insane. Like it was the week before Christmas. The stage was incredible. The set was amazing. It was just, I don't have words. It was the best job I have done to date, 100%, hands down.
And do you ever get nervous before you get on stage? And how do you control your nerves?
I do. That one was very scary. So it was a full show. So it was basically, we learned to tour in about 10 days.
Wow.
So I think it was a 2-hour show and we were off stage for maybe 15 minutes of the 2 hours and we learned it all in 10 days.
That's
so
madness.
We were learning like 4 to 5 numbers a day, and then we'd come in the next day and set them and then learn another 4 and then go over them all at the end of the day. And like, if you can get through that, you can get through anything. So there was pressure. And as well, my parents used to come to a lot when I was younger, but obviously I work now in the UK more. So this one was a special one and it was Christmas and they were like, we're going to fly over. I was like, okay, cool. But when they got there, I was like, oh no, I was like freaked because they were watching. I was like scared. I was like, oh no. And I could see them like, it's such a big place, but I could literally see where they were sitting. And I was like, this is too much. So I was definitely nervous, but I think you need to remember, like, you're there for a reason and you audition for these things. You're picked for a reason. So they know you're capable. That's one thing that I always remind myself. I'm like, oh, you've done this before.
Yeah.
Like, you've got it, you know, that's kind of what gets you through.
And like, what advice would you give to young dancers about to embrace into the commercial industry?
What advice would I give? I would say, well, firstly, classes are crucial. But I would say just getting comfortable in that audition process, because auditions are very common, jobs aren't so much. So you need to understand, like, auditions can be very intimidating. They can be exhausting. They can be long. You could be the best person in the room. You're not going to get picked because you don't fit the brief before you even walk in. So it's hard to deal with the knocks. There's a lot of knocks. It's like 95% no's. And that's just part of the game. And I think people forget that. Even if people walk in and think, whoa, I smashed that. Me all the time. I'm like, I killed it. And then I get caught and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, okay, that's fine. So you just have to get over it.
I feel like you have to have that kind of, I know it sounds a bit weird, but that war zone mentality of like, you have to go through the 1,000 no's before you get that one yes. Because, and like, I almost feel like the the audition that you think has gone the worst is probably going to be the job that you're going to book for some weird reason
Always.
sometimes, you know?
Because they just see something when you're not expecting it. When you go in ready, it never works out how you think it's going to.
Yeah.
So you're better off to just go in with no expectations, just do your best, and then see what happens.
Now,
100%.
out of all the places and artists you have danced for,
Mm.
besides the Royal Albert Hall, which artist and venue has been your favorite experience? And I know it's a tough question because nearly all the gigs you do are like in these amazing venues.
Yeah. I think, well, I've got two. So I'll say one just because it's Ireland. So Ireland's Got Talent, I did both seasons on the show as a
Yes.
pro dancer.
Yes.
And it was just really, really nice to have a professional job at home.
Yeah.
So we would like film the live show. I would drive home and like have a cup of coffee before I go to bed and just watch it on the TV
Okay.
and then go
yeah.
back the next day. So it was nice. It was nice to have that feeling, and so many friends in the audience, and like even some of the contestants. Ireland is so small that I would know some of their supporters or whatever. It was just
Yeah.
lovely. It was nice to have that.
Yeah.
But I would say I did the Jingle Bell Ball with Rita Ora in the O2 in London. And that was a full set. So I think that was like a 40-minute set. We did a bunch of her biggest hits. And I tell everyone, she's been on my list for years. Like, I've always wanted to work with Rita. She's been in my top 10. So that was a big one. And at least you get comfortable on stage. When it's one number, it's over like that. Whereas when you've got a long set, you can really like sit back and enjoy. So I think that would be one for sure.
I remember Bird College, they got us dancing for Pink at the Brit Awards in 2019.
Amazing.
And like we obviously just closed the show, but like I'll never forget this. Like at the end of it, because obviously I just looked around because it's like this arena just caves in over you, and everyone is just so small. I sobbed, and I'm not one to cry. I just stood there and sobbed. And when one of her dancers was saying to me, "You need to leave the stage," I was like, "Give us a minute." I was like, I have to just take it. It was madness. And I don't know how you do it like the whole time. It's incredible. But we'll just go back on Ireland's Got Talent. As a dancer on these reality shows, is it tough learning all the different routines? Because I know things can change last minute on shows like that.
Oh my God. Like we were learning intro numbers on the day. Like it was crazy. We would even go into our tech rehearsal and do one routine and then come off the stage and they're like, okay, camera angles don't look right. Can we swap this person with this person? And that's just the nature of it. I do look back and there's one or two moments that I'm like, oh, I know how I was feeling right there. Like side stage, they're like live 3, 2, 1, and you're like, oh Jesus, take the wheel. Like I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I think it's that excitement that like gets you through. I don't know. It's just, if it's for you, it's for you, and you're going to be fine. Like we all make mistakes, but you always find your way, you know?
Yeah. Now, look, this is such a cliche question, but why do you dance? Because like we were talking about, it is a tough industry, but it's also a beautiful industry. But it's full of rejection, and I suppose, why do you get up every morning and want to dance, and what makes it so special for you?
Geez, that's a good question. Do you know what? I think it's because it's what I know so well. It's what I've done since I'm 4. It just comes naturally to me. A lot of my friends are in the dance industry. A lot of my interests are even within the industry in different ways, you know, like whether it's fashion or whether it's getting inspiration from performances that I can then use for choreography. Like it's always going, like it doesn't stop, especially when you work for yourself. I think the only thing I like to do outside, there's very few things I like to do outside of dance. Like it all relates to dance. So I think, oh my God, it's so cringe, but it's like, it's just a part of me. Do you know what I mean? It's just there. It just is there.
Yeah. And you were part of the new music video Naked by the new Irish artist Amy, which is about embracing body image unedited and unfiltered. What do you say to people that struggle with embracing their own body image?
Oh my God, it's such a process. Like I myself put a post up with that, and the dance industry, it's quite interesting. So when you're attending auditions and things like that, the harsh reality is image is a big part of what we do. And I think it's changing in a positive way. It's definitely becoming more inclusive, which is fantastic. But there's moments where little comments are made, or especially girls get it very bad, and I think it leads to a very bad body image for girls because it's very, very difficult. Skinny isn't skinny enough for girls,
Yes.
whereas guys get away with it a bit more. So
Yeah.
I think as well, Amy's my friend, and Amy's an incredible artist. She's an amazing singer. I've known her years,
Yeah.
and I just love how she's signed by Universal. She is doing amazing things, but she's so open about it. So I just
Yeah.
love how that was the single, and the intention behind it was just to embrace. She had so many different people and influencers and friends in the video of all shapes, sizes, colors, all of the above.
Yeah.
And it just shows you, I feel like that helps, and to know that that's okay, you know?
Yeah.
And it's nice to see it in mainstream now, because that video is a perfect example. Like, it's there now, it's set in stone.
And
And
that's what I love about it, is like people do struggle with it. As I know I have now. Look, I'm not in bad shape at all, but obviously I'd like to be more muscular, and and especially with girls, I've personally seen loads of girls that have developed this eating disorders because the industry demands on them to be this perfect way and this perfect image. And it's good to get people that are going out there and saying, hey, I go through this too, and create awareness. And like,
absolutely.
if anyone is thinking that, look, their body is not whatever, just enjoy your body. Life is for living. You know what I mean? Enjoy it, embrace it, have fun. Now, signing with an agent for recent graduates of colleges and stuff, and anyone, is such a, well, for me, a scary process. But luckily,
Yes.
I had guidance from the amazing agents at Bird. But for you, how was the experience of joining with AMCK and Dancers Inc.?
So it was very unusual. So what happened for me doesn't really happen for a lot of people. So I applied for all agencies when I was like 17, 18, and I went for them, and I think I got told I was too young a lot of the time. My image was too young because I had quite a baby face, and I had blonde hair, and I didn't fit any niche at the time.
Yeah.
So it was tricky, but I got scouted by all of my agents, basically. So
Right.
the first one I signed to when I was 18 was AMCK at a dance convention.
Yeah.
And then I applied for Dancers Inc. several times. They're a huge agency in the UK. And I think I got cut the first round when I went. And then I went to an intensive, and Chris pulled me outside, the head agent, and they signed me. And he remembered that I had auditioned, but he said, oh yeah, we just didn't like your hair color at the time, which is fair enough. And
Yeah.
that's just the name of the game. And he signed me. And again, with another agency I just recently signed to, AJK, they just scouted me through socials, through seeing some footage and stuff. So I've been scouted on all of them, but I have definitely auditioned, and I do know that feeling and that pressure. And
Yeah.
it's tough.
Now, look, we all know you're a man of style and will be dressed for any occasion. When
Yep.
did you become so involved and fall in love with fashion?
Oh my God. Well, it's definitely evolved, because I look back at photos from like even 5 years ago. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like what the hell was I wearing? Like,
Yeah.
so bad. I've just always loved putting an outfit together. Like, from Panto, like after Christmas, everyone would come in every day, like
In their new
their
clothes.
like freshest clothes from
Yeah.
Christmas. That was such a fun part of Panto. Like, I
Yeah.
used to think of that, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wear this with this today, and I got these new shoes, let me pair that. Like,
Yeah.
it's always been an interest, but I think as time's gone on and social media has become more present, I think, in a lot of people's lives, the fashion that you find on socials is amazing. And not even so much men. I find it more from girls that will use like men's pieces and dress more masculine, that I'll kind of draw inspiration from that.
Oh, okay.
Which is a bit of a different take, because I think it's quite difficult with guys to have interesting looks. Like, a formal event is a suit and that's it. Like, it's quite difficult to find something, you know?
Well, I was just about to say, because like I see you on your story saying, yeah, well, this will match here and this. I'm just the type of fella that I get a nice thing and I'm like, right, I'm wearing that for the next week. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, though. If it works, it works.
But I was just about to say, like, where did you get your fashion inspo from? Because I never see you in the same outfit, but you also find the best deals and sales on clothes. So where do you get your fashion inspo from, and how do you find the best deals?
I am king of deals. I don't know how I do it. I just research, and I really do like to have my pieces, and I don't buy knockoff brands that are even more expensive. Like, you can get those medium brands where it's not legitimately the designer, but it's still quite expensive. But then when you do your research, sometimes you can find the pieces from like one season prior for that same price. So I think it's just important, because then you're getting the quality and you're getting the price. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that is important. I just got so into it there. I lost half the question. What was the other part? I'm like so gone on clothes.
I was just talking about who's your fashion inspiration. We can talk about that.
Oh, okay. Fashion inspiration. Oh my God, it's so hard. So I'm very like half and half. I love streetwear, but I also love like boho vibes. Like in summer, I love anything beachy. So it's it's half and half. I love Off-White. They're my favorite brands. They have some incredible pieces. They're always a little bit alternative, which I love. Something that like pushes the boundaries for guys. The colors are always out there.
Okay.
So Off-White are definitely a big one, and they're also quite affordable at times. Like you find them in sales everywhere. There's so many luxury websites that always have an outlet section or a sales section, and there's always pieces from Off-White. God, what else? I think Rihanna. I don't even know how I take inspiration from her. I don't think I do, but she just inspires me. Her fashion is out of this world, always.
Right, just off the top of my head, before we go, I'll give you £500 for shopping, Adam. What shops are you going to?
Ooh, Zara, number one.
Okay.
Always. Zara is the one. Oh my God, Bershka on a good day.
Right.
And then we might get some fancy shoes in Brown Thomas on sale.
Okay.
We'll budget it. We'll give 300 for the shoes, and we'll get the clothes with 200.
Okay.
Definitely.
That is the best consumer advice you're going to get here on the podcast, guys. So make sure you take note of that. Adam, man, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And guys, make sure you go over and follow Adam on his Instagram to catch up on his daily stories. He does all his clothing hauls, and you can just catch his amazing career. Adam, thank you for sharing your story. And I know you will continue to spread peace, positivity, and love.
Oh, thank you.
And guys, remember to subscribe to us on all our platforms, which are YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. The journey to 100 subs is on. Make sure to follow us on the Chit Chat Podcast on Instagram, on Twitter at the Chit Chat _, and on Facebook at the Chit Chat Podcast. Guys, I'm Evan O'Hanlon from the Chit Chat Podcast. Thank you so much for listening.